嗨，大家好，我是新加坡李大，欢迎来到我的频道。
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, let's congratulate the very successful conclusion of the SCO summit. And this is a victory for all the members of the SCO, including India and including Russia, China, and all the others. And allow me to emphasize, also including Pakistan. I think the fact that SCO summit has produced a declaration means that all the members have signed on to this declaration, with no exception. India has signed on to that, and Pakistan has signed on to that, because if any member decides not to sign on, then there will be no joint declaration. So I think let's congratulate all the participating members for their collective wisdom and courage in signing up onto this joint declaration, which is a major international document in the world of today, reflecting the collective will of all the participating members, including India and Pakistan, to do the right thing in the coming years. Now, you talked about anti-terrorism. Please keep in mind, SCO was started with a focus on anti-terrorism. And over the past quarter of a century, anti-terrorism has always remained as a dominant theme for SCO and for all member states in SCO. I would recommend, going forward, whenever there is a terrorist attack involving any member state, we need to go to the SCO framework to get to the bottom of the situation, to compare notes between governments, for example, to make sure that terrorism of any color, shape, and form happening anywhere among our member states will be condemned by the SCO as an organization, and we will have a mechanism to deal with terrorism of any kind, so that they do not play such dangerous things against, especially innocent people in our countries. And I would say, if there is any terrorism in Kashmir, in India, in Pakistan, or in China, all members should condemn such terrorist attacks. Allow me to emphasize, China has lost quite a few of our nationals because of the terrorist attacks inside Pakistan, especially in Balochistan. Every time when there is a loss of life of Chinese nationals inside Pakistan, we mourn the losses and we call on the Pakistani government to get justice done. And I think it should be the same thing, same way going forward. Whenever there is terrorist attacks happening anywhere among our member states. So my hope, my dream is that SCO will be the most effective framework to deal with terrorism of any kinds, anywhere within our membership going forward.
Interesting that you mentioned Balochistan. I know, Victor, I knew you would mention Balochistan. I knew you were itching to mention Balochistan, but I just want to remind our viewers a little bit about, give them a little bit of context. See, what is happening in Balochistan is, the people of Balochistan are Pakistani citizens, and they are fighting the Pakistani state because they feel the Pakistani state has stolen their resources. But the difference is, in a Pahalgam attack, the terrorists are trained in Pakistan. They are Pakistani citizens who come into India and carry out the attack. There's a difference between Balochistan and Pahalgam that perhaps gets lost sometimes, right? In a summit like this. But I'll take that question to Adele. Adele is giving us the American view. Of course, Trump is not happy with what's going on. Trump administration is not happy with what's going on. But a lot of Americans are actually happy with what's going on. They're saying at least Trump will fall in line now. Adele, what's your view on the big takeaways from the SCO summit?
Niranjan, just can I just add
okay, you can add on to that. There. You can add on to that, and Adele will come in. Yes.
Well, in fact, just a while back, we've had a statement, a kind of a reference that has been made, and this is the report that has been published by a certain Western media. They are saying Narendra Modi, Vladimir. So, the message has been sent across to the West, and particularly this is exactly what China and Russia have also been aiming at, because it seems that and the fact of the matter is that you've had President Putin today saying that I acknowledge the role that has been played by India and China, and I'm hoping that the United States of America follows suit.
Yeah. Adele, you can take that.
In response to that, thank you so much for that update. I want to say welcome to the table. The United States has been fighting against radical Islamist terror and terrorism in all of its forms for decades. So I think it's lovely that now the SCO members are also joining, getting in line and also doing that. I don't think this is a competition against the US, although they think it is. I think what it's doing is when we have more countries, more organizations coming together collectively, nations are organizations after all, they're businesses at the end of the day, but we have the US and these now, allied partners in some allied, some not officially in the SCO, who are fighting for the same cause, right? And that's to eradicate the globe of these toxic, cancerous elements that are destroying civilization. Terrorism in all its forms must be condemned. And so, I have to say, I'm glad to see more members that are really on, following suit and fighting terror. I think it's very refreshing.
Yeah, I just want to make a small mention. Abhishek, and I'm handing it over to you. You can go to Fakhar. Fakhar, can you hear us? Can you hear us now? Just checking if you have. Oh, great. Can you say something? Can you unmute yourself? I'm unable to hear you, my friend. Okay, I'll get you back. I'm sorry. I apologize for this. I'll get you back. I apologize for this. I'm getting you back. There's some issue in getting your audio through. Okay, but the point I wanted to make to Adele, she made a very interesting point. She said, welcome to the table. We've been opposed to all forms of terror. That's great, Adele. That's fantastic. Wow. But Asim Munir, you invited him a few days back to White House. You sat across the table with him. You struck deals with him. You're going to have a great crypto, huge, big, beautiful deal with Pakistan, right? 60% by a company owned by Donald Trump's family. And then you have the Pakistani government also involved in this. And let me give you some more news in case you have missed it in the last 2 months. Pakistani generals, Pakistani army officers completed the last strikes for the terrorists we eliminated in Operation Sindoor. They were trained by the Pakistan army. So you can speak about fighting all forms of terror, but I hate to break it to you that it is your friends in Pakistan who are training these terrorists. You sanction them on one end, and then you are in bed with these terrorists. But that's something I wanted to make because I didn't want you to get away with that. David K wants to come in. David.
I have to, I'll rebut later.
Yeah, you can come in later. David.
Well, the SCO was started largely on this issue of terrorism. And, one person's terrorism is another person's freedom fighter. It depends on your perspective. I think the most important thing we've just seen is the early stages of undoing American hegemony over world trade and the dominance of the U.S. in setting the rules of world trade, financial transactions, and perhaps even the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. And the reason for this, of course, is that the United States has a president who is a con artist. He's appallingly ignorant. I've known him and spent many hours with him over the last nearly 40 years that I've studied him and written 3 best-selling books about him. He doesn't know anything. He has a degree in economics, but he didn't learn anything about economics. Oops. He promotes the discredited idea of mercantilism. There's a fixed amount of wealth in the world, and if you have money, that means we don't have it, so we have to figure out how to take it from you. And here you've seen Xi, Modi, and Putin basically declare, there's a new order here in the world. Now, this is the very early stages of this. This can all fall apart. But that's, I believe, the significance of this meeting. And by the way, those rides in the limos, those were designed to humiliate Donald Trump, who made a big deal out of giving Putin a ride in a limousine in Alaska. The choice of Tianjin to hold this meeting, the 6th largest seaport in China, was also part of an effort to humiliate the incompetent leader in Washington by these other 3 leaders who are all strategic thinkers and have significant smart staff serving them as opposed to a bunch of hard-drinking television show hosts.
Okay, so, we began by this conversation by focusing on the takeaways, the wins for Indian diplomacy. But it seems we are actually again veering down to what's with Donald Trump, right, Niranjan?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's coming down to that. What's wrong with Donald Trump? It's not just India that's really riled. It's the Chinese, obviously, because they are competing. Russians, of course, because ultimately the American deep state is on the side of the West. And the West, because Donald Trump is not backing them in Ukraine enough, as much as they would want. So effectively, who's America befriending, unfortunately, at this moment, except for General Asim Munir? Yeah. Fakhar, if you're there, I mean, I don't know whether what's happened. Have the Chinese hacked your phone or what? Fakhar, are you getting us? I really want to ask you this question.
Is he there? I think we're trying to fix the line there. You can take that to Anand Ahuja. He was really upset with what David Kay said. I mean,
I want to come to Patyan also,
really
but before that, Anand Ahuja. Anand Ahuja, except for General Asim Munir, who's today friend of the United States?
First of all, I don't understand why we are discussing Asim Munir or why we are even discussing Pakistan. India being the largest democracy and the fourth largest economy is comparing itself today with Asim Munir and with Pakistan. Are we going to that low level to compare ourselves with these countries or with these people?
I mean, we are not comparing. It's Donald Trump who really wanted a photo op between General Asim Munir and Prime Minister Modi, and for God's sake, that's not going to happen. And I think Donald Trump really misread the situation, and for which he's paying. The kind of anti-America sentiment for the first time I'm seeing in my life on the ground in India. It was never like that before.
Sir, first of all, you have to understand the circumstances in which Asim Munir was invited for a lunch at White House. At that time, Israel-Iran war was going on. Initially, Pakistan's position was that I will supply nukes to Iran to destroy Israel. Donald Trump invited Asim Munir and made Pakistan to change its position in Iraq-Israel war. The same very Pakistan then started supporting Israel, and they said that we are not going to support Iran. So you have to understand the geopolitical particular situation at that particular time. Inviting Asim Munir for one lunch does not mean India has been ignored by United States. Also, I see a lot of things have been discussed here from objectives point of view, what happened in SCO. What is being revealed in SCO is beautiful, but what is being concealed is vital. And I tell you what is being concealed. The concealed is China is seeing an opportunity for India to be in its relationship with USA so that India sooner or later acknowledges China's hegemony in South Asia. China, we are forgetting that it is China who has been training Pakistani terrorists against India. We are forgetting that it's China's intelligence against India that is being provided by China to Pakistan.
Victor, can come on this?
So, on paper, it's very good to say that we are on board, we are going to handle terrorism, but the question is, who is feeding these terrorists? Who is giving training to these terrorists? Who is providing these arms and ammunition to terrorists? Pakistani terrorists that came to
I think his point is to Fakhar. Fakhar is finally... Fakhar, can you hear us?
Yeah.
You've heard everything, my friend.
Make a point.
You've heard everything, my friend. You want to respond to each one of them, you can.
No. Listen. Actually, there was a problem from your side, I think so. And now your staff is make it fix. Sure. I was listening to you all.
Can you confirm whether Shehbaz Sharif signed the Tianjin Declaration which condemned the Pahalgam terror attack, of which Pakistani terrorists were sent to India to carry out the attack? Can you confirm whether Shehbaz Sharif signed that declaration? Fakhar.
Yeah. Of course, that was a joint declaration about the Pahalgam attack as well as the Jafar Express attack in Balochistan, Pakistan. Last time when your defense minister was there, what was the problem there? That the Jafar Express incident was there in a joint statement, but the Pahalgam was not condemning that time, right? This time, both the incident condemned by all the members, not only the Pahalgam attack, but you are claiming this, that Pakistan attacked in Pahalgam, but you didn't give any proof, and you didn't investigate that matter.
Can you look at that visual? Can you tell me what happened to Shehbaz Sharif?
That incident happened on 22nd on April, and today is the 1st September. What you did for that incident? I think so. Pakistani Prime Minister was there, and he representing Pakistan. What he said? He said about the terrorism in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as in Balochistan. Our Chinese fellow also talk about that the Chinese engineers and the Chinese people attacking in different areas of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as in Balochistan. Pakistani Prime Minister said about that Pakistan is not supporting any type of terrorism in this region, which is come from Afghanistan or which is come from some other countries.
Supporting any terrorism in this region.
Yeah.
Just a second. Are you sure, Fakhar? Because just yesterday, your ambassador or charge d'affaires in Kabul, I'm not talking about Jammu and Kashmir, not Delhi. In Kabul was summoned. A demarche was issued by Taliban government of Afghanistan that please stop fomenting trouble in our territory. And it was a charge against your military, not even your Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I'm my last 10 years journalism on those areas. Of course, they demarche or ambassador because Pakistan made the 2 drone attacks in Khost as well as in Nangarhar. For that, they demarched our ambassador in Kabul. And our foreign office confirmed that they demarched the Pakistani ambassador over there because Pakistan military security forces was following the TTP and other terrorists which is living on the Pak-Afghan border. And they are attacking the Pakistan military as well as the other people in those areas.
Okay.
Of course, Pakistan is following that.
No, but I think you missed the point, Fakhar. The point was about Shehbaz Sharif getting that snub. You see that visual? How is the Pakistani media reporting this visual? Look at that. Look at that visual of...
listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yesterday he jumped
I will
Yesterday he
respond on
jumped.
that.
Yesterday he jumped at Putin. He lunged at Putin.
Listen.
Almost trying to
of course,
like that and put
of
his
course,
hand
I have talked about that when he was follow the Vladimir Putin. I think so. That was not a good gesture as a Prime Minister of Pakistan. He didn't do that. Of course, it's okay. But right now in this show, there are, I think so, we are 8 or 10 people in this show. But all the people are discussing what they are discussing Pakistan. You said in the start that
the key word is terror.
India is the winner of the
SCO 2025. The key word is terror.
Listen to me.
So we are also discussing
This
Donald
is the
Trump,
claim of
actually.
Pakistan about the terrorism. This is
I have an
Pakistan
idea.
claiming the terrorism.
If we're talking about snubs, right? Why don't we redirect our attention and topic of conversation to the seeming snub that Peter Navarro took?
Thank you for saying that. That's another logic I want to talk about. David, I want to get you in on this logic, right? So there is this guy called Peter Navarro, okay? So this guy called Peter Navarro makes a statement this morning. I'm going to pull that out, right? Big, beautiful American statement. He says, I don't understand why Modi is getting in bed with Putin and Xi is the biggest democracy in the world. I would just simply say to the Indian people, please understand what's going on here. You've got Brahmins, Peter Navarro, who doesn't know his facts, right? He says, you've got Brahmins profiteering at the expense of the Indian people. We need to stop that. And then he uses this word laundromat, okay? David,
Can I just add to it?
Yeah,
Adele, if
Peter Navarro.
Listen. If Trump meets Putin, it's the beast. If Modi meets Putin, it's what? Dictatorship.
Dictatorship. Right? No, the laundromat. I want to mention the laundromat. You mentioned the laundromat, right? So here's a circle, David. I want David to respond to this. Abhishek, laundromat. So his allegation is that we buy oil from Russia. We're funding the war machine, right?
Adil wants to respond
to this. Okay, I'll just complete my question. Either of you can take that. So by that logic, yes, we buy oil from Russia. And you know who buys oil from us? Ukraine. Largest buyer of diesel from India is Ukraine. Who funds Ukraine? America, right?
Well,
so my
dear
friends from America, you are the laundromat. You are funding Ukraine. You are buying oil from us. We are buying oil from Russia. Eventually, you are the eventual beneficiaries. David.
What we have to make a point.
Okay, so you directed the question to me. If the rest of you would hold on for a moment since I was asked to respond. Peter Navarro, who professor, is a far-out fringe character who has no basic understanding of the world. His trade theories are nonsense. He's been showed to be a fraudster. He repeatedly cited the work of someone else who doesn't exist, and it turned out it was an anagram of his own name. So Peter Navarro has Donald Trump's ear, and he's important for the reason that he has Donald Trump's ear, but he's part of this administration full of drunks, former heroin addicts, incompetent people who Donald Trump surrounds himself with as a career criminal, the third-generation head of a four-generation white-collar crime family. So I wouldn't waste time about Peter Navarro's nutty views, except to understand that they play a role in the utter lack of sophisticated knowledge of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Adele?
Allow me to make a point.
Coming to you, Victor. Adele wants to make a point. Adele.
Yeah, allow me to make a point. For Peter Navarro, let me say one thing. For the record, Peter, let India decide whom India wants to sleep with. That decision should not be America's decision. That decision should not be Peter Navarro's decision. That's very simple. Let India decide which country is its enemy and which country is its friend. Now, another point I want to make is that the United States, and in particular President Trump, seem to be worried that they do not have enough enemies in the world, whereas China is always worried that if we do not have enough friends. So that's the difference between China and the United States. We want to have as many friends as possible, and Washington seems very, very worried if they cannot find enough enemies in the world. That's a big difference. Now, the other thing
Victor,
is that
I think you're overstating that.
The United States keeps buying uranium from Russia. So what right does the United States have to call on India, don't buy oil from Russia? That decision, again, is
you have such a corrupting influence on the world. You know, you are creating problems for India. You're creating problems for Donald Trump. You're creating problems for Russia. You're creating problems for Ukraine. You're creating problems for everyone.
Abhishek,
I'm
somebody
not
has to
creating any
have
problem except for those who are against the peace.
We take what we can get. It can't just be the US having the corrupting influence on the world. We are entitled to our share.
I mean, that was in jest.
Come on.
That was in jest. But the point is, I think apart from India, and obviously, you know, I always say, Tatanya, that we are not in Russia-China camp. We are looking at our own policy of multi-alignment, which is essentially,
and
you can call it
non-aligned movement 2.0. We don't have a
2.0.
Russia-China camp.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I was coming to the point that maybe
there's an India camp, and this is the beauty of this situation. And Adele, big thank you for starting this mess with mentioning Navarro. Just a lot of love again coming from,
thank you. Right back at you. So here's the thing. I have to make something clear here for the audience, right? Because a lot of Hindus from India are in America. You know, I have to make this clear as to addressing Peter Navarro's comments. It leads to a much more nefarious underpinning, right? There are organizations in the U.S. like Equality Labs that are supported by George Soros and the Soros Network that receive backing from Islamists, from Khalistani diaspora groups, and they've been running a vicious campaign against Indian Americans and in left-leaning states like New Jersey, California, and Washington State. The fact that Peter Navarro has picked up these lines referring to the Brahmins as such from these organizations tells us the power of fake news and propaganda, and that it can infect
No. It's not an innocent comment. It's not fake news. I'll tell you what. It's not as innocent as you think it is. He has made a very, very carefully calculated statement trying to use the caste divide, what the opposition likes to speak here. Ma'am, it's a very carefully crafted statement.
I know, so here's what I have to do. He has been infiltrated by misinformation campaigns by these groups that I mentioned. What it does is it shows that private conversations of policymaker circles
No. It's not as innocent. You know, this is deliberate. Yes, Anand Ahuja, are you going to defend Navarro?
Look, I'm not defending him.
No, I'm asking Anand. Anand Ahuja is defending him. He's a Republican.
The irony of his comment is this,
let me make a comment. Let me make a comment. First of all, you have played only half of Peter Navarro's statement. You have missed that part. Hold on, where he's saying Modi is a great leader. Modi is a great leader, and then he's saying, when he says mentioning profiting, what he meant to say is that elite class in India is making profit on this purchase of cheap oil.
No, 1 minute, because he's factually wrong, sir. Please don't come on Indian television in prime time and repeat that lie. Don't say it's not about a class. What do you mean? Is the Prime Minister of India Brahmin? Is the President of India Brahmin?
It's not about the class.
Are the biggest industrialists who are buying oil from Russia Brahmins? Are the people running the biggest oil companies Brahmins? What are you talking about?
Common man in India is not getting benefit of
that oil. Sir, 1 minute. Just for your information, our Prime Minister is from a backward caste. He's not a Brahmin. So please, don't even try and defend Navarro on Indian television, sir. Please don't do that. Please don't. He's the most hated figure in India right now. He's the most hated figure in India right now. I would say he's more hated than Trump. Navarro's more hated than Trump in India right now. So please don't even remotely try and defend him, Mr. Ahuja.
Common man in India is not getting benefit of cheap oil from Russia. It's only rich elite people.
Then okay, 1 minute. Then why is Europe? Why don't you tell Ukraine to stop buying diesel from India?
No.
Why don't you tell? Why don't you, sir? Why don't you tell Ukraine to stop buying diesel from India? They're the biggest purchasers of diesel from India.
So
why are you buying diesel from India?
Peter Navarro said Modi is a great leader. Modi is a great leader. That part is you are missing.
But you cannot say Brahmin, sir. That's a very, very carefully. I want to bring in Ambassador Vora because I think you're missing. A lot of people in India are furious. In fact, someone sent me a message at 5 a.m. this morning with that comment. And Ambassador Vora was live with us at 6 in the morning. First question that was asked to him, what do you think of this Navarro guy? Because, he's gone crazy.
He hasn't.
Ambassador Vora. I want to go to Ambassador Vora. Listen to a diplomat's perspective, sir. Nobody speaks that language.
Certainly,
sir, he's not speaking as Peter Navarro, a private citizen. He's the trade advisor. For God's sake, there has to be some seriousness. Ambassador Vora.
Sir, you're absolutely right. We can't dismiss this as Mr. Bizarro, sorry, not Bizarro, whatever his name is, the rantings of a demented fellow. But let me just put it to you that talking about the Boston Brahmins in New England were the people who funded universities like Harvard, etc., the very rich elite. It played a great role in America. And when he says that the Brahmins in India, and he's referring to the big companies in India, he's referring to Adani, he's referring to the Ambani, they're not Brahmins. The fellow has no understanding of India whatsoever. May I suggest to him, sir, and I'd be delighted if our young lady from the United States conveys this to Mr. Bizarro. It is better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
So if I may add on to this, what I want to say is that even if we give Mr. Navarro the benefit of the doubt in the situation, which we don't, I still urge him heavily to engage with American Hindu diaspora members, like organizations like Hindu Action, that actually can help him get his facts straight. Of course, his comment was totally off, but what it shows is the deep infiltration by these left-wing groups like Equality Labs and the Soros-backed elements.
Yes.
That's one part of this film called Cascade, The Untold Story. This specifically is, this Cascade, The Untold Story is a chronicle of facts. It's a documentary of record with no speculative elements. It talks about how the California Civil Rights Department, the CRD, they are...
David wants to come in. Adele, what are you saying, Adele? Come on. Come on. David.
This idea that Peter Navarro is somehow...
Don't be rough on her. She's such a fine young lady. Don't be harsh on her.
David.
The idea that Peter Navarro is listening to anybody like George Soros is just absurd on its face. That it's typical of the kind of disinformation that supporters of Trump rely on. Ignore facts, make things up, make indefensible claims. And that's what you're seeing with Peter Navarro, who's a nutcase. I mean, his own fellow faculty members were shocked that he ever got hired at the University of California, Irvine, as a professor. And as I said earlier, Peter Navarro is significant only because Donald Trump listens to his nutty ideas. The man is a fraud top to bottom. He doesn't listen to George Soros. He is simply badly informed.
I'm gonna correct the record. I never said he was listening to George Soros. I said elements like Islamist, Khalistani-backed elements that have been influenced by Soros and left-wing like Equality Labs have influenced policy circles that have his ear. That's why I want to say.
But I thought Trump is fighting Soros, right? Isn't it?
Hindus are being
Wasn't
targeted.
Trump
Hindus
fighting Soros last I checked?
And they're becoming.
One second. What am I missing? Yeah. What am I missing? I thought Abhishek. I thought Abhishek Trump was about to arrest Soros. That was the news last few days. So now,
well, it's all jumbled up, garbled up. You know, it's been some show of strength and power projection by the Chinese, Niranjan. Yeah. India has significant takeaways. President Putin is, of course, on a roll from Alaska to Tianjin, and he's meeting all the world leaders. There is nothing called Russian isolation, and Trump has a lot of credit to him for achieving that, and Tatania is very thankful to Trump, as much as we are not. But you know, Fakhr is, what about Fakhr? I mean, you know, Fakhr, are you going to vote out Shehbaz Sharif for the kind of...
yeah, why do you need Shehbaz Sharif? Asim Munir is
there, yeah.
Is your de facto...
And we have run out of time.
Yeah, we've run out of time. But fun debate. I think India is the standout headline from the SCO. And I got news for you, Adele. Please tell Mr. Donald Trump and the American administration our purchases of oil from Russia is going to increase in September. That's something that we've just learned. So all the best. And Ukraine will continue to buy diesel from us. So it's a win-win both ways. Thank you very much. Good debate. Until tomorrow, Arnab Goswami is back.
好了，今天的内容就到这里，希望你能喜欢。如果你喜欢我的视频，可以一键关注我的频道，或者点赞分享我的视频。你们的支持是我最大的鼓励，谢谢观看。